Hey TechDweeb, what's in the bucket? Nothing. It moved. Buckets do that. Especially when they're happy. Hey there, how's it going? I'm TechDweeb, welcome. Thanks for clicking on the video today. I think we can all agree that there are too many video games. Thousands of them arrive on Steam every minute, all desperately waving their little store pages and yelling, "Play me!" Lots of them get buried and forgotten. Some get tossed into a bucket by a strange internet YouTube man. This is their story. I have 7 games to show you today, a lovely assortment of entertainment products. There's no theme, no rankings, no particular connection between any of these games. The selection process is extremely rigorous. I play a game, it's an indie game, I like the game, I remember that I played the game, into the bucket it goes, and then I show it to you in videos like this. These also aren't enormous comprehensive reviews. These are just more like enthusiastic reports from the first few hours of the games. I just get excited about games and I want to talk about them. That's all this is, and if you want more than that, you should go watch a better YouTube channel than this one. I'm just a dweeb. For this episode, I played and recorded these games on my Odin 3 retro handheld using Game Native. I'll put links to the games and my Game Native setup video in the thingy below, along with a link to the Odin 3 if you want one of these for yourself. So let's get into the games before the bucket starts making that noise again. Too late. Start the video. Sludge Life is less of a video game and more of a damp smell, with controller support. You play as a graffiti artist wandering around a tiny polluted island controlled by the Glug Corporation. Your goal is to make a name for yourself by finding 100 predetermined spots and spraying your little sludge guy logo on them. Or don't. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not your sludge mother. I mean, you can skip the graffiti and simply exist in this world if you want to. You gotta walk around and take photos, smoke cigarettes, play basketball, download garbage onto your in-game laptop, annoy the locals, or press the dedicated fart button. Yeah, there's a fart button. If there was ever any question that games are art, that should settle it. Most of the gameplay is exploration and first-person platforming. You spot somewhere that needs tagging, and then you figure out how to reach it by climbing pipes, hopping across rooftops, and hurling your fragile body at industrial equipment. Along the way, you find gadgets that open up new areas and tagging spots. The platforming can be fiddly. Sometimes you grab a ledge like a heroic parkour master, but other times you slap your face against it and fall directly into the sludge. Failure barely matters though. You wake up in a hospital, walk out, and resume your important career as a criminal. The entire island is deeply, wonderfully disgusting. It looks like somebody took Jet Set Radio and left it inside an old microwave with a wet cigarette. Everything is fuzzy and grimy. The people look like rejected toys. The music sounds like it was recorded inside a dumpster. Everyone has some bizarre complaint or stupid story or nearby sight gag. The world is small but packed with strange details, and there are apparently 3 endings depending on what kind of horrible little sludge jerk you become. It's short, and the crude humor and lack of direction won't work for everyone. I like it though. The world says, hey man, go do some stuff. Or don't, I don't care. And I respect it for that. Sludge Life is weird, filthy, pointless, and somehow extremely cozy. Like a moldy couch. If you've ever wanted to play Dynasty Warriors during the Scottish Wars of Independence, Tears of Metal is here to satisfy that extremely specific desire. You play as a heavily armed Scottish warrior leading a mob of angry clansmen against enormous armies. It's basically William Wallace, the video game. And by basically, I mean literally. You are William Wallace. You charge across battlefields, capture territory, call in allies, and turn several hundred sad Englishmen into fine red mist. Freedom! And it feels fan-frickin-tastic. Tears of Metal is all about the combat. Every hit has like a real crunch to it, but bodies fly everywhere, special attacks demolish groups, and your little Scottish buddies swarm around anyone you missed. Elite enemies can still ruin your day, so you need to block and retreat, and occasionally stop treating the battlefield like your own personal playground. There is an enormous amount happening on screen, but it is readable chaos. The good kind of chaos. And just look at this art. The cutscenes have this like colorful comic book art style that it looks so good. The music is great too. Tears of Metal commits to its whole deal harder than a Scotsman running downhill with an electric guitar in one hand and an axe in the other. I don't know how he intends to play the guitar while also holding an axe, but I'm sure he'll find a way. This isn't just Dynasty Warriors with a Scottish kind of dressing to it though. A roguelike structure holds everything together. After clearing an area, you choose an upgrade that might grant a new ability, add elemental effects, or make your warrior even more preposterous. And then on a big map, you can pick which destination you go to. Longer routes earn more goodies, but later battles become more dangerous, so you need to kind of decide how greedy you're feeling before marching towards the boss. Between runs, you upgrade your town, unlock permanent improvements, and collect rewards from regions that you control. There are also several characters with different fighting styles. It combines several satisfying varieties of number go up into one big all-you-can-eat Scottish violence haggis buffet. This is Card Shark. Pour yourself a goblet of the finest root beer, adjust your powdered wig, and remove the peasants from the good furniture. We are going to France. I've never been much of a card player. I understand poker well enough to know several matching cards are desirable, and I once won $11 by playing blackjack against my uncle, who definitely let me win. However, Card Shark quickly reveals its first devilish deception. This isn't really a card game. You play as a mute servant in 18th century France who meets the mysterious Comte de Saint-Germain. Together you travel around France cheating wealthy aristocrats and uncovering secrets and becoming entangled in this kind of big conspiracy story. Très intrigue. That means very intrigue. You don't need to understand the actual card game because you're not there to play. You're the accomplice. Your job might be to peek at someone's hand while pouring wine and then secretly tell the Comte what you saw by wiping the table in a particular direction. You need to kind of juggle a bunch of things at once. You need to remember the signals and count cards and not overflow the drink at the same time. From there, you learn increasingly elaborate techniques inspired by real cheats. You palm cards, mark decks, perform false shuffles, and arrange suspiciously magnificent hands. Eventually, you're combining several tricks while trying to remember where everything went. Take too long and your opponent's suspicion rises. Get caught and you could lose your money, go to prison, or become briefly dead. So the actual gameplay is like a collection of timing and memory minigames, but the tricks are varied and cleverly translated to the controls. Pulling one off, it feels great. You feel like a criminal genius. A gentleman criminal genius, naturally. I steal your money, but I also hold the door for you as you enter the poorhouse. And sacre bleu, the presentation. Every scene looks like a loose animated painting accompanied by a theatrical Baroque soundtrack. It feels like a fancy illustrated storybook about being stabbed for improperly shuffling cards. This game is stylish and clever and unlike practically anything else. Card Shark made me a man of culture. I drink my root beer with my pinky extended now. Thrifty Business was a big surprise. I bought it on the recommendation of somebody I know who knows me and my taste. Within 5 minutes, I thought they had failed me. The colorful art and the cheesy writing didn't click with me right away, and the gameplay wasn't grabbing me either. 15 minutes later, I didn't want to stop. An hour later, I was digging through boxes of used appliances because Susan needed a microwave, and Susan's happiness was now the most important thing in my life. Thrifty Business is, it's a shopkeeper game, but instead of selling potions and swords and legendary fruit gummies of doom, you run a thrift store. People donate or sell boxes of old belongings, and you turn that used junk into a business. You buy shelves and tables and clothing racks and then arrange everything however you like. As a responsible store person, you should apply some logic. Put the toys together, make an electronics section maybe, or group items by style, or create one shelf containing a microwave and a garden gnome and a single boot. It's your store. Make bad choices if you want to. However, organization matters because customers have their own tastes and requests. Keep them happy and they'll buy more, but they'll also stop for these neat little conversations. Soon they stop feeling like generic customers. You remember Susan's microwave. You watch for dog supplies for that guy with the rescue dogs. That's where the game got me. Every day has the same rhythm. Restock, tidy, help customers, then spend your profits on furniture and expansions. It sounds simple, but the loop is incredibly tight. Watching items sell and making money and spending that money transforming your tiny shop creates a powerful dopamine drip. And even the vibes won me over. What initially felt too colorful and childish became warm and inviting. I started caring about these dumb little weirdos and feeling home in their cute little world. It's a cozy, addictive shop simulator that I expected to dislike, and I ended up loving it. You probably know me as TechDweeb, but I'm also just as much of a dice dweeb. I love tabletop RPGs, I love making characters, I love spending 6 hours preparing an adventure so my players can immediately wander in the opposite direction. And I love dice. Beautiful little click-clack polyhedrons. I own far more than any human could reasonably need. Right now, I'm working through the various Borg RPGs. Mork Borg, Cyborg, Pirate Borg, all these horrible little books. I'm even considering asking my Shadow Dark group if they want to take a little Borg side quest. They don't know yet. Don't warn them. Mork Borg Heresy Supreme is the official video game adaptation of Mork Borg, a rules-light tabletop RPG about wretched losers surviving in a world that is actively ending. It turns that miserable setting into a side-scrolling semi-procedural action RPG where you wander the dying lands, complete horrible quests, and fail at postponing your conversion into floor meat. Just like the RPG, your character is randomly generated with unpredictable stats, lousy equipment, and potentially terrible health. You might begin with a sword. I received a femur. Story of my life. Combat is slow and deliberate and dangerous. You slash, kick, block, and dodge while waiting for openings. Food can be eaten or thrown directly at someone's head, just like real life. Occasionally, your choices are settled with an on-screen D20 roll, allowing tabletop rules to reach through your monitor and ruin your life. But beyond it being a Mork Borg video game, the reason I'm obsessed is the style. Oh my god, so style. This game looks like a zine come to life. Everything uses the black, white, yellow, and blood red art punk nightmare of the original book. It looks like a medieval church pamphlet redesigned by a heavy metal band and dragged behind a corpse wagon. Menus slam on screen, skeletons burst apart, doom metal guitars make your pathetic death feel epic. This game is still in early access though. Movement can be awkward and the pace may be too sluggish for some, and more content is coming, but the miserable little heart is already here. Heresy Supreme is brutal, cruel, and aggressively unconcerned with your happiness, just like Mork Borg. And real life. The Legends of Amberland games are basically all the same game. The gameplay and the visuals barely change and the story continues between them. It's more like a trilogy of games, really. However, the story is light enough that you can really just jump into any of them without causing a rupture in the Amberland timeline. I think I've talked about the first game in this series before. I can't remember where, I'm pretty sure I did though, but I haven't shown this series in the indie bucket, so let's take a look at Legends of Amberland 2, The Song of Trees. This is a first-person, grid-based, turn-based RPG inspired by old computer games like Might and Magic and Wizardry and Ultima. If those names don't mean anything to you, well, just imagine exploring a fantasy world while trapped inside an Excel spreadsheet designed by a wizard. You control a party of 7 adventurers, either assembled yourself or chosen from a pre-made group, 7 tiny people squished behind the camera. You explore an open world filled with towns and forests and castles and caves and dungeons. Movement happens on a grid, 1 square at a time with 90-degree turns, and the combat is turn-based. Weaker enemies go down quickly so exploration never gets buried beneath grinding. That's what makes Amberland work for me. That's why I like the games in this series. It looks ancient in a good way, but it doesn't preserve all the miserable inconveniences of actually ancient RPGs. You get an auto map and fast travel, straightforward menus, controller support obviously, and an infinite magical bag for anything nobody's equipped. No handwritten notes explaining that the blue key opens the eastern door on basement level 6. No spending 40 minutes arranging helmets because the tank is carrying too many sandwiches. It's old school without being annoying, the way that many actual old school RPGs are. I love the retro vibes here too. The chunky pixel art and the colorful monsters resemble an old 16-bit fantasy computer game. The world is bright and cheerful and slightly silly. This isn't a grim tale about moral compromise and destiny. You're heroes. There is evil. Go kill the evil. It's a casual take on the genre. Sometimes I just want to gather 7 jerks and find a dragon. This series is perfect for those times. Cleaning my actual house is a miserable chore that I avoid at all costs, but somehow cleaning a pretend house is deeply satisfying and fun, and I do it in my spare time. Moldwasher takes the cleaning game formula and shrinks it down and makes it weirder. You play as a tiny sentient piece of sushi, armed with a miniature pressure washer, wandering through pixel art household environments and blasting away mold and grease and unidentified kitchen substances. It's a tiny 2D power washing simulator, and I want to say that there's more going on here than just spraying dirty pixels, but there's really not. And that's okay because it's still fun and satisfying regardless. It's got this progression where you grab gradually unlock an arsenal of cleaning tools. And each level is a detailed diorama. You clean eggs, shelves, windows, fans, countertops, and forgotten corners of a kitchen that apparently hasn't been inspected for a very, very long time. Mold comes in different varieties, some of it grows back as you're trying to spray it away, and pests can spread filth across areas that you've already cleaned. It adds a little bit of arcade energy without ruining the relaxed pace. Like any good washing simulator, the washing, it feels really good. Your water sprays sparkle, clean surfaces brightly glisten, and stronger tools physically push your tiny sushi backwards. Watching a grimy object become bright and colorful provides exactly the low-stakes brain tickle these games need. Like any good cleaning game, the cleaning itself feels tight and weirdly satisfying. Completing jobs earns upgrade money, and improved tools feel substantially more powerful. You can also uncover collectibles and music and decorations for your little basement home. Because after cleaning somebody else's disgusting refrigerator all day, a sushi deserves somewhere nice to sit. Moldwasher isn't deep, and the main campaign lasts only a few hours, but what's here is charming and satisfying. It's cute and gross and relaxing and strange enough to have its own identity. And it lets you play out your dream of being a mold janitor, which is a much cozier job than I expected. And that's it. We've checked out 7 amazing games from the indie bucket, and now the bucket is hungry again. It must be fed. So stay tuned for future videos like this. I'm going to try to do an episode of this series once a month at least. Let me know which of these games look the most interesting to you, and please leave your own indie game recommendations in the comments. I'm always looking for more games to toss into the bucket. If a game is good but it only has 6 Steam reviews and it looks like it was made by somebody who hasn't slept since 2019, I want to know about it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, there's a link down there too. Every new supporter brings me one step closer to becoming a real boy. I'm getting close. I've already picked out the bones I want. Anyways, that's it from me for today. I'm TechDweeb. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.